In today's video, I am finally going to be giving you my top quarterbacks for this coming NFL draft. So my draft will look a lot different than many people's. I have a very different perspective on these quarterbacks than other people, and that's okay. It's my opinion, but let me know what you think down in the comments by the end of this video. Who goes up, who goes down. But today, as usual, we are sponsored by none other than Dubby.gg. Dubby energy drinks, you see them right behind me, and guess what? Today, what you don't see, we got 4 new flavors. 4 new flavors sitting right here, and we're going to try one right here on camera. I'm going to go make it real quick, and yeah, then I'll talk some more about them. So it's as easy as this. It comes in, it's sealed with these little things on it, and then you take you some water, some ice, something like that. Maybe no ice if you're a little crazy. Get you the little scoop out of it. This one we're going with is Blue Tropical Punch. The other options I had today from the new ones were Blue Raz Purple Grape, Super Tart Fruity Candy, and then Tiger's Blood, which is strawberry, watermelon, and coconut. But we're going with the Blue Tropical Punch today. You dump the powder in there. Make sure you close it back up. You don't want to get into nothing. Put your lid on for your Dubby vessel. Give it a good shake. Now let's give it a taste. That is my favorite flavor yet. I'm not even joking with you. Yep. All right, putting in another order. Blue Tropical Punch is delicious. It's perfect. No joke, that was the best flavor I've had of Dubby since I've started. My favorite one was the blue raspberry. I really like the blue drinks for it. I don't know why. It's just a flavor I like. But this time, hey, it's Blue Tropical Punch. It's changed. New one, new flavor. It has updated my my game. So, good job, Dubby. You did a great job on that one. Make sure you check out Dubby.gg. Click the link in the description and get yourself a discount with my code SHRD3R. Either way, let's get to this video. I've got 9 quarterbacks for you today, and we're going to start at number 9 and work our way up. First off, Jalen Milroe. He's my number 9 quarterback. A lot of people might have him a lot higher than this, but, well, I don't see him panning out in the NFL at all. He's basically just worse Justin Fields, okay? He's a better athlete than Justin Fields is, which that's impressive because, I mean, Justin Fields is quite the athlete. But he's a worse passer. He's got a big arm just like Justin Fields. He's a good runner just like Justin Fields. But just because he has the big arm doesn't mean he knows how to control it. And that is the problem for a guy like Jalen Milroe. In his 4 years at Alabama, he only surpassed 2,800 yards twice, and that's not great. His rushing, he only had 500 and 700 yards in his best 2 years. He did have 12 and 20 rushing touchdowns in his last 2 years each, which is obnoxious. But I'm paying you to play quarterback and throw the ball. I'm not paying you to run around. I don't have a very, it's great if you can move. Let me just say that. But guys like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, they can move. I'm not looking for a runner. I'm not looking for a Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is the only quarterback we've seen that's a runner that has panned out, and he can't win in the playoffs. So I think there's something connected to that. But either way, talking about Jalen Milroe, this guy, he just is an incredibly raw passer. He's got a little, he basically runs off of talent, and I don't think that talent's going to run anywhere in the NFL. I think he comes in, he's a backup. He's honestly, his best career at 6'2", 225, his best career probably will pan out is if he takes the Taysom Hill route. He is less of a quality passer than Justin Fields even was. That's the reason why Justin Fields went in the first round is because he had some semblance of a legitimate passing arm that still didn't pan out in the NFL. Jalen Milroe is a lot worse. So much worse, he's probably going to be like a 4th or 5th round pick. Not to say that he's a bad player. He's a great football player. He's just not a good quarterback. I don't see him doing a whole lot in the NFL at all. And, that comes from his college days where he got a lot of sacks, especially in 2023. He was sacked over 40 times. You have the best, receivers, the best O-line, the best defense in college football on your team, and you still don't really put things together. It's kind of concerning. And I think it's become from a lot of the quarterback not being a really great player. That's really what it is, in my opinion. Coming in at number 8, we have Syracuse quarterback Kyle McCord. This guy spent 3 years at Ohio State and then 1 year at Syracuse and had a really good year in the last 2 years of his career, both at Ohio State and Syracuse. This past year, he had 4,779 yards, had 34 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Really good year from him. Take Jalen Milroe and the player he is, and if it's a line, if it's like a timeline, right? Go to the opposite end. That is what Kyle McCord is. He doesn't move much. He's 6'3", 220. He's a multi-level passer. He is one of the better just pure passers in this class, but he's really lacking on the athleticism end. He's not a bad athlete particularly. He's just not a good one at all. He's very much in the middle there of just a very average athlete. But for today's modern NFL, not great. He's very much the, not that he's this kind of player. I'm saying athletically, he's like a Tom Brady, He might get out and scramble for a little 12 to 15-yard run, but that's pretty much it, He's not getting any farther than that, and then he's going to go crazy because he just ran 12 yards. But either way, Kyle McCord, really good year this year in a conference that was rather competitive at the ACC. I don't expect him to really get the chance to do much early on in his career. I think he is more of a 4th, 5th round pick. That's kind of where we're at the ballpark of this. But if a team was to allow him to sit and really just work on his skills as a passer, I think that could be really good for him. Jared Goff would be a very modern comp for him in terms of just the passing ability. I'm not saying it's a player comp, but you know what? That's pretty close. So I think he's capable. He's definitely capable. Going back into his Ohio State career, he wasn't great, and they obviously moved off of him for that reason. They went to go get Will Howard, another guy, because it kind of just wasn't working. He had some great receiving rooms, and it just didn't really put itself together. So Kyle McCord, I think he'll be a really solid player, but he may be a career backup. This quarterback class, let me just say this, is incredibly strange. There's a lot of, oh my gosh, are they good? But there's not a lot of, oh yeah, he's really good. Caleb Williams and Drake May and Jaden Daniels, they were all really good. Bo Nix was like, yeah, he may be pretty good. J.J. McCarthy, yeah, he may be pretty good. We have like one, oh, he's good, and like 2 or 3 like, are they good? And then the rest of them are like, are we sure they're good? And like, yeah, it's kind of like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird way to put it, but that's what I'm going to say. At number 7, we are moving to a quarterback who spent a lot of time in college. He's been in college since 2019. This is Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel, the 6', 200-pound quarterback from Oregon. Really a quick, IQ-driven, roaming quarterback, right? He's a little bit of an athlete, but he's kind of the Patrick Mahomes style athlete, right? He's not going to wow you with his speed, but he can break off. If you give him the right moment, 30 to 40-yard run, it can happen. It can. So he's kind of one of those, like, you don't expect it, but it could happen, right? But either way, at Oregon, this past year, 3,857 yards, 73% completion, 30 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's great. I take Oregon quarterbacks with a grain of salt because all it does is show that they know how to read a quick passing game. That's all it does because they don't really stretch the field much. I like Dillon Gabriel enough. I think he's talented enough. His years at Oklahoma have really proven that he can do enough. But, what does that look like? His last 2 years at Oklahoma, he had 3,100 yards, 3,600 yards, and 25-6, 30-6. He had 6 interceptions in the last 3 years of his career. That's crazy. But very limited. Not the best arm, a little bit weaker arm, but he's very fine-tuned in his passing. He's a very accurate passer. Very much, it's not just because of the helmet, but Bo Nix makes a lot of sense as a comp to a point. They are both just not the best athletes, but very capable athletes, but also not the best passer, but very capable passers. Very, very similar. It's really just a scheme that Oregon likes to get from. Pretty much after Justin Herbert, that's all they've had is these sub-tier athletes that aren't amazing, but fine, and then these middling passers that they can just, they're smart guys. That's really what it is. These guys are smart, okay? His years at UCF were a little rough, but he moved on to OU and got some good years in there and really became a really solid player this past year, Oregon. I think he is a career backup. I don't really think he gets much, a spot starter at best. He's kind of a low ceiling with this one. I think McCord has a bit of a higher ceiling, but Dillon Gabriel has a much higher floor than McCord does, if that makes sense. So I think he's probably a 4th rounder, maybe a late 3rd if it gets really generous in the quarterback selections early on. But I'm just not really surprised with Dillon Gabriel. He's also small, so that doesn't really help. But, quality brain as a quarterback, right? He's a very good IQ for the position, and I think that's going to help him a lot get picked higher than some others. We've got a 6-year quarterback now, Tyler Shug from Louisville, 6'5", 225 pounds. He's an all-around read passer, right? Good athlete, not great athlete, good athlete. Really solid arm across the field. I watched games of all these quarterbacks, and Tyler Shug, I watched his Notre Dame game, and I want to talk about that for a minute. A top 5 defense in the college football landscape this year. And honestly, a lot of their passing schemes were very vertical, which I like to see from a college player to see how good their arm is, where their touch lies. And he ran a lot of they split the field in half with him a lot. they would take, Halffield say, hey, look, you can pick which one you want. Where's the corners? Where are the safeties? Who's playing? Are they hard on this side, soft on this side? Okay, if they're soft on this side, let's go over there. You got 2 reads. Which one do you want? You got 3 potential options. Your running back's running a flat. You got an out route, and you've got a post route. Which one do you want? Let you read it. And he was really good at making those reads. Did he read the whole field all the time? No, and that's something he's going to have to work on. But he was incredible at making right decisions at Louisville. Had 3,195 yards, 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and that's on really decent numbers of passing and everything. 63% is pretty solid. Nothing wrong with him. He didn't get sacked a lot. It's another big thing for him. And in Louisville, which isn't an incredible school by any means, but they had a lot of drops. His 63% isn't that high, and it could be a lot higher. His receivers dropped balls like no other this year, man. The Notre Dame game was horrible. Picks were not his fault. Drops that were not his fault. It was like he was perfectly fine, but his receivers were absolutely rattled by the defense. And they were obviously like that was on the receiver. It wasn't like, oh, he could have put it a little closer. No, they were all on the receivers. Not to blame them, but it really just is what it was. Tyler Shough. He played 6 years in college football. He backed up Justin Herbert. Put that in perspective. But, is he too old? I don't think so. College quarterback, he's 25 years old, and college quarterbacks, I think it's better for them to stay longer because they have to learn more about the game of football before they get to the NFL. Guys now in the NFL, they play till they're 40. That's 15 years of a career. Go back 10, 15 years ago, guys were only playing 15 years of a career at best. It's the same kind of, it's the same kind of line out. It's just a little bit later. But Tyler Shough could be a really good player. I don't think he's worth a 1 or a 2 because of his age, possibly. Maybe a late 2 if somebody really just wants to make sure they get their quarterback. But I think maybe the 3rd round is a perfect spot for him. He has a lot of talent. And yes, he played 6 years in college, but he honestly didn't play, but really like 2.5 years. If you look at his attempts and his counts, you're looking at, in the last year of a season, he had 389 attempts thrown, and the next highest was 177. And so you've got like 2.5 years of good ball here. Let him develop some. He's not fully developed because he didn't get to play. He was hurt a lot. Is that a concern? Absolutely. That's another reason why I push him into the 3rd. But Tyler Shough's a player that I'm very interested in, to say the least. And, he's really, I'm going to say he's tied. He's 6, or he's 5B. He's 5B. He's 6/5B because there's another player that I think he's very similar level to. These guys who are kind of lower ceilings, but really a decent ceiling at the same time. It's kind of a combo of like, they could be something. They really could be. The 5A player who could be something is Will Howard. Will Howard, he's 6'4", 235. This guy is a mobile gunslinger. He's a better athlete than I realized. Specifically watching his game, the loss to Oregon, they're top 25D this year. The problem I have with Will Howard, I'm going to get this out of the way early and often, okay? He was schemed to be good this year, especially with those receivers that he has, Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith and whoever else is there. Emeka Egbuka, that's what I'm forgetting. I knew I was missing one big. He had 4,000 yards. He was a 73% passer, 35 touchdowns, 10 picks. Really good year. When you throw it to Jeremiah Smith, you're going to make a lot of catches that you shouldn't. That's a fact. However, Will Howard has the arm to be great. He has a great quarterback's arm. He has the arm similar to a Aaron Rodgers, a Big Ben. The ability to just chuck it, and it's on a rope. It's on a line. Now, the decision-making could get better. He was schemed into a lot of reads at Ohio State that were making him, a lot more interesting. I don't really know what to say. I call it. He's a 5-year starter, okay? Kansas State did not succeed well there. His best career completion percentage was 61%, and that was on 2,600 yards. Didn't have a great time there. Just didn't. But didn't play a ton in the first few years. Either way, Will Howard, really strange player. Much better athlete than I thought, I will say. I think he's one of the better throwers in this class. Him, McCord, and there's one more that are really the top tier of true passers in this class that we'll get to later. I just don't know what to think about him across as a starter in the NFL, especially not now. He's a guy who needs to sit, okay? If I'm being honest, he's a guy I really want Pittsburgh to draft. As you see, I'm a Pittsburgh fan way over here. Because he needs a year to 2 to sit and really wait. He cannot play in the first couple years. It would be a very bad case. In Pittsburgh, they just brought in Mason Rudolph. They're expected to bring in like an Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. If that all happens, your starter is Rodgers, Wilson, whoever for the next year or two. You've got Mason Rudolph if he goes down, and this guy can work on his craft. Let him work on his craft because he's got all the tools. He really does. He's a better athlete than I realized. He's a really solid passer. He can throw ropes, man. He can absolutely throw ropes. But, he got some help. That's for sure at Ohio State, and we've got to see over that. See if he can, kind of come into the NFL and be the help, not have some help. You know what I'm saying? At number 4, we have Shedeur Sanders. This guy's an athletic pocket passer, but he's a better runner than people realize. But his IQ is kind of all over the place. I can't spot his quarterback IQ in this. He's 6'2", 215, a little bit more slender than you want. Wish he maybe can get up a little higher. I don't really think Shedeur Sanders, if his name was Shedeur Davis, Shedeur Smith, Shedeur Carter, if I'm saying his dad wasn't Dion, he'd be a 4th rounder, 5th rounder maybe. He's getting hyped up a lot because of who he is and where he comes from. And you know what? Okay, but he's not that great of a player. I hate saying this because it sounds like I'm hating, and I'm not hating. I like Shedeur as the person. I like where he's at. I wish he'd focus a little more on say this. He had the most incredible amount of help I've ever seen a college quarterback have. Travis Hunter's on one thing, but it seemed like every time it was either at the line of scrimmage pass, like something that if you drop it, well, how did you do that? 74% completion. That kind of tells you like, what are we doing? And he threw a lot of vertical passes. That's receivers, man. He doesn't drop things into buckets. He doesn't make throws that anyone else can't. He doesn't have a particularly super talented arm. He's got a good arm. He's got a fine arm, an arm that will translate. But he's not a special passer by any means. He's a very, average, get-the-job-done passer. But his IQ, that's what I'm saying. That's why jump balls kind of come in here. He's willing to just loft it up and let Jimmy Horn, let Travis Hunter, let Will Shepard, whoever else there is there. He's willing to let them just go get it. And that's good. Let your receivers, give them the ability to own that offense, right? Let them go get it. The one thing I'll give him credit for, they had no running game in his time at Colorado. No running game. Their O-line was terrible. That's one of the biggest problems is he takes terrible sacks. He does take. He was sacked 42 times this year, 52 times the year before. He's got an issue, okay? And yes, his line was bad. He also runs backwards 15 yards anytime there's pressure in the first 0.5 seconds of a blitz. And I understand what you're doing, but that doesn't work, and it will not work in the NFL. He's a better athlete than known, but he's not going to translate athletically to the NFL in a super great fashion. Shedeur Sanders is a strange case. I would put him under Will Howard and maybe even Shug, but I think he's a little bit more athletically driven than they are and has a little bit more of a balance to his passing and athleticism. So that's why he gets the nod up. But it's, I said Will Howard and Tyler Shug were like 5A, 5B. It's really like Shedeur, Will Howard, and Tyler Shug are 4A, 4B, 4C, if that makes sense. But either way, it's a weird pick for him. QB3 for me is Jaxson Dart. He's basically tied with Shedeur Sanders, okay? It's really, I guess this one makes it 3A, 3B. Whatever. The one thing I gave him above Shedeur, he is a weaker arm, that is for sure. He kind of got as a noodle, not going to lie. He played 4 years in college. Last year was his best year by far. He had over 1,000 yards more, or nearly 1,000 yards more than his prior year. He had 69% completion, 79 on the yardage, 29-6 touchdown reception ratio. Doesn't have as bad of a sack problem. It's still not great, but it's not as bad. But he had 28 and 27 sacks in his last 2 years. He is a I call him a running pocket passer. He's a pocket passer, absolutely. He's a passer at heart, but doesn't have the top end arm at all. He has a noodle. But he is an incredibly willing runner. I have like maybe 1 or 2 sheets of notes for all these quarterbacks. Shug, Ward, Howard, Shedeur, Ewers, and then I have 2 for Dart. Three for Dart. They're stacked up behind each other. He had more than everybody else because he was a lot. The problem with every Ole Miss quarterback is they are schemed to being good. Every one of them. This is to a higher extent than the Ohio State guys or anything. The Ohio State guys aren't really schemed to being good. They just have the help. They are schemed in Ole Miss. They are schemed into being good. Allow me to explain. Matt Corral, whoever else was here before them, they all are in this system that opens receivers up incredibly. Lane Kiffin has his offense that every receiver is basically open at all times. It is insane. And you know what? He hits open wide receivers. Like, give him his applause where that's due, right? He hits the open guys. But one, he is a noodle, like I've said multiple times. at the combine. He made one deep throw that everybody was wowing about. If you really look at it, he had to let that thing go so early. He looked like he was speeding up his drop back so much because he had to. He was trying to put it on his best display, hit the receiver in stride, and to hit the receiver in stride 40 yards down the field, he has to throw himself on the ground nearly to get that ball out. 50 yards is his limit. It really is. You see that in games. It's really tough. The biggest thing he gets over Shedeur, over Will Howard, is, oh my gosh, he's a willing runner. I had no clue what kind of runner this guy was. This guy puts his shoulder down on linebackers. This guy is willing. And, maybe not the best decision-making on that, but at the same time, he does it in a very controlled fashion. He's not like a Jaden Daniels at LSU where he's kind of just running and, so light on his feet that he just gets blown up and sent out past the sideline. No, he's willing to kind of analyze, and he reslides, but he also says, hey, this guy's kind of at a bad angle. I'm going to put my shoulder down and run through him. In the intermediate scale, he's a really good passer, got a really good amount of accuracy, but like I said, just struggles with the deep ball. No, wow through him, really, especially through a couple of the games I watched. Just not a lot of wow, but just a lot of, hey, he gets the job done and done well. That makes me concerned, though, because of how Ole Miss's offense is really run, that open scheme for the receivers, and actually translating to being able to do stuff in the NFL. That is concerning, in my opinion. I don't know what to think about that at all. QB2 is coming to town, and this one is going to be a hot one. Quinn Ewers. I am high on Quinn Ewers, way higher than a lot of people. And that's mainly because of this class. It is not because I think Quinn Ewers is a great prospect. It's because this class is very strange. Very, very strange. And the thing Quinn Ewers wins is he is the most talented arm in this class, and it's not really close. He is the best combination of strength, of accuracy, of talent, of all the things that you want in a quarterback. His arm has it. Best combination of all of them. He may not have the absolute strongest arm in the class. We'll talk about that one in a minute. He may not have the absolute most accurate, but the best combo of all of them, making him the best overall passer. The problem with him is his movement is weird. But then again, he was hurt the last 2 years at Texas, so I'm kind of holding off on that a little bit. And his other problem is his IQ is occasionally off. It's more of he's really good until he isn't, right? He's got two great throws, great IQ, drops him in a bucket, better than anyone else in this class could. The third one is like, did you just not see him? The defender? Like, it's kind of one of those things. This past year, he played with a torn oblique, which is impressive. I mean, you, as a quarterback, you're throwing, use your core to throw, and that's tough. So this year he was almost 66%, 3,400 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. A little higher in the interceptions this year, but really productive this year with, an offense that lost two of their best weapons by far. A.D. Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, they lost weapons and he got better. Obviously Matthew Golden is a really solid player. Isaiah Bond's also good, but they're not A.D. Mitchell and Xavier Worthy in my opinion. At least in the college level. Obviously in the NFL, I think Golden could be better than either of them, but you get the point. Quinn Ewers, he's 6'2", 210. He's a pocket passer. He's a field general, right? That is the kind of terminology you give him. But he has some legs. He has. When he gets the chance to move, he's pretty good at it. He has to be healthy. But that arm, man, it's better. And if you think it's not, you're wrong. Quinn Ewers, his reads, he's clutch. That's another thing. He has the ability to pump and run like no other. He's got a pump fake that really is synonymous to some of the better quarterbacks in NFL history. And his arm mobility and angles, so he can be rolling left this way and pop his arm back this way and throw a sidearm like no other. He's got the arm talent that other people don't have. The reason why he is the highest ranked high school quarterback in high school football history. There's a lot of issues that he had that I think, I'm going to pull my notes down here and read this for a second. He has a lot of patience, okay? That's another thing. That's where his IQ plays well. He reads it well. He's like, okay, that corner's there, the linebacker. If I can draw that linebacker closer to me, let the receiver get that space he needs and throw it over his head. He does that a lot. He's able to do that. He throws with anticipation, and this is something that if you're around the YouTube quarterback kind of scheme, anticipation is one of the most important things in football. Being able to say, hey, there's two defenders on him right now, but he's running this way and they're facing that way. He's going to break free. I don't even have to know he's going to be there. I know he is, and just chuck it right there, and it's going to be there. He's over here. That's anticipation if you don't understand. But the rollout, the anticipation, the arm angles, his boots, he's so comfortable. He is a quarterback. This guy is a true blood quarterback. He feels it. You can just tell he's comfortable at most times. The problem is he does take some sacks that he shouldn't. This past year, he had 31. He doesn't. That's one of his IQ things that he loses out. Excuse me. When the pocket shifts in on him, he kind of starts to lose it, and he kind of just doesn't. He kind of just like sits there. He's willing to take a hit, which I love that. But sometimes you do need to get out and try to make something happen. Need to learn more of that. But hey, in this class, the way it looks, if this guy had a good year this year, he is a top 2 pick. I don't have any doubt about it. If he had a good year, he was hurt though. I think we got to give him some grace. I know a lot of people don't want to give him the credit, but he also threw more passes than just about anybody this year, most people this year, 445 passes, and had a 66% completion percentage. Really, really good, man. Quinn Ewers, put some faith in him. And Cam Ward comes in at number 1. No surprise there. He had the best year of anybody, really. 67% completion, 4,300 yards, 39 and 7, 22 sacks, not too bad. This guy is a 5-year quarterback with 3 colleges. He went to Incarnate Word, he went to Washington State, and then now Miami. Had some decent talent in Miami to help him out, in Xavier Restrepo and some others. The tight end they have is Arroyo, I believe it is. But he's strange. He's not a top-tier number 1 prospect like a Caleb Williams or even a Drake May, Jaden Daniels. He's really more of like in between those 3 and the Bo Nix and J.J. McCarthy's. He's really somewhere in between that, right? If Cam Ward was to be in last year's draft class, he would go somewhere between 4 and 6. I mean, there's a possibility some teams take Bo Nix over, in my opinion. I think, and J.J. McCarthy too. I think it's possible. Not saying it would happen. I think it's probably closer to that 4, but I think there is a chance. Anyways, 6'2", 223. This guy's not a mobile passer. He's a moving passer. He's kind of like the Mahomes in a sense, right? Not a runner, but can absolutely run if he needs to. Massive arm. I mean, less accurate than you'd like, but this dude can drop him 70 yards down the field with ease, it seems. He's got the ability to do a lot of things. At the FCS level, he played really well. He doesn't run as much as you'd like him to, honestly. He only had 4 rushing touchdowns this past year on 200 yards. That's his highest rushing season ever. It's really strange. He seems like when he moves around, his mobility in the backfield, he seems like you think, oh, this guy's going to run for 600 yards a year. No, he just chooses to kind of get the ball out of his hands and let his receivers work, which I like that, I will say. He's every year, basically. His slowest year of pass attempts was 303. That's a lot for his lowest year, right? We've got guys like Jaxson Dart, who his lowest was 189. We've got guys, Shedeur Sanders. He played all 4 years because of his dad, so his lowest was 413. But Will Howard, his lowest was 55, Tyler Shook, his lowest was 15, then a 92, then 111. Like, playing, 300 snaps at least every year, that's a lot. That's a lot of development. It's a lot of ability, And we've seen that from him. Cam Ward, he's earned this number 1 quarterback spot by being the best player this past year. However, I think, like I said, if Quinn Ewers had a good year this year after building off of last year and the year prior even, I think Quinn Ewers goes 1. I think he is probably the better overall quarterback. He wasn't able to put the production on the field when it mattered the most because of his injuries, because of multiple things, and not to make excuses for him, but I just do think that his arm talent has the most. But anyways, to Cam Ward has proven this year that he is number 1, and his big arm is really the key there. There's a lot of more traits with Cam Ward that you can kind of project than there is with Quinn Ewers, because Quinn Ewers is kind of more put together to a point, but Ward is more he's got a lot of potential that you can really just blow up into a really great player potentially. So either way, that is my top quarterbacks. Let me know what you think down below. Who moves up? Who moves down? And how do you think these guys grade out in terms of the NFL? Where do you think is a good landing spot for them? Let's give that question. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button. They don't cost you a single thing, and they do help me out a ton. And I'll see y'all in the next video.